Hello and welcome back, Crypto Warriors. Today we're diving into a crucial topic of Bitcoin security, specifically the risk associated with sharing your desktop, your Windows desktop, your Mac desktop. You can remotely share it over the network, but this has potential network vulnerabilities. So let's get started. On any Windows or Mac computer, you can allow remote desktop. So in here we can type remote desktop, click remote desktop settings. And it's possible that this is enabled. If it is enabled, it means someone on the same network or over the internet can connect to your computer to help you with your computer problems. However, this is just secured by a single password. And so a hacker could potentially get into your computer if this is enabled. So you might want to disable that completely if you store any Bitcoins on your computer. So your Bitcoin is your treasure, protecting it is paramount. So this is one of the risks that you should really consider, that you might not want to have remote desktop enabled. Sharing too much about your Bitcoin transactions can attract unwanted attention, or even just sharing a remote desktop. So be mindful about your security, because the security of your Bitcoins is your responsibility. So remote desktop, it can be very convenient, but it's also very risky. Let me give you a demonstration. On the left, we have the hacker's computer. On the right, we have the computer with the Bitcoins. So we have the wallet here. Wallet is running here. It's just outside of the screen. Let me just move that. So let's move it a bit around. Okay. So on the right, we have a Windows computer with a Bitcoin wallet, and it has remote desktop enabled. So you might think, why is that a problem? Someone can help me out, it's easy. It's not such a good idea. So first, let's suppose you're on any public place. It can be an airport, a hotel, or anywhere else, maybe a coffee shop. And in such places, you might not be the only one on the network. There might be a lot of other people and potentially some hackers. So what they might do is scan the network for people on the network, and then specifically scan devices. So they might scan your computer address. So in this case, it's the computer address of this computer. They scan it with a tool, and then they see that remote desktop is enabled. You see here, they see that by looking at the number. So 3389, which is the communication line for remote desktop on Windows. If I click advanced, you see here connection port for remote desktop 3389. So now that they know that there's a remote desktop on the Windows computer, they use the tool nmap for that. They might then scan or try to connect to it, but not in the normal way. They might know that your name, your personal name, but they don't know the password to get into your computer. So what they can do instead is use a password list. So they have lists, maybe a million password list, 10 million password list, or even larger. And they can just automatically try every password one by one in an automatic way using a tool called Hydra. So when I press enter, it will do that. This is a very large file with passwords, so it has 1 million passwords. If I press enter here, you'll see it takes a moment, and then it tries passwords one by one. And because the password is so simple, it found the password. So it only took a second or so, and it found the username and password almost right away. And all of this only because the computer has remote desktop enabled. So, okay, now it has the password, and then what, you might say. So they could connect to your computer with another program, which then asks for the username password that they have because they just cracked it. So they type the username password. And now they're inside your computer. Might take a moment or so to load. So now they're inside the computer. Doesn't matter which Bitcoin wallet is there. They can now send Bitcoins to their own wallet. Click fill in the data and click send or pay. And they don't have stolen your Bitcoins. And all of this is possible only because you enabled the remote desktop. And second, so that was the first mistake. And the second mistake was choosing a very simple password. So in this case, the password was 123456. Even if you choose more complicated passwords, it's possible that your password is in such a password list. So if I show you the top of that file, let's say the first 100 passwords, you see it's just full of commonly used passwords, and that list is 1 million. So this file has 1 million commonly used passwords, but there are password lists that are even longer, 10 million, 100 million. And so it was quite easy to get in the computer because we picked a simple password and because remote desktop was enabled. So you want to be mindful about what do you enable on your computer. Ideally, you don't enable anything, you don't install any applications. That would be the most secure. But with a software wallet, that is not really possible. That's only a hardware wallet or physical paper. So that is a real risk with remote desktop sharing. So now you know a little bit about network risks. We used a tool called Hydra to do a so-called brute force attack, finding those weak passwords and then take over the computer remotely. So you want to protect your Bitcoin not just by not clicking on any apps, but also by securing your network. So don't enable remote desktop, don't share any folders on the network, don't share anything, maybe even disconnect from the internet completely. Or if you have to, use firewalls and just take really good care of your security. Ideally, you don't use a software wallet and go straight to hardware wallets, because then you don't have these kind of risks. So there you have it, Bitcoin Guardians. Protecting your Bitcoin isn't just about technology, it's also about smart practices. Because if the user picked a good password, the hacker might not have gotten in. Or if the user here also set a good password on their wallet. So this wallet didn't have any password, which was more about the last video, because in this video they have direct access into your desktop. So with the remote desktop, if they picked a good password for their user, the hacker might not have gotten in. So it isn't just about apps or technology, but also about good practices. So the hacker could, or the Bitcoin owner could have prevented this hack by disabling remote desktop completely. So there you have it. And see you in the next video. Until next time, stay secure, stay vigilant, and may your Bitcoin thrive.